Hi everybody, my name is Mark Stackenritter. I'm the training supervisor at Ventura County Fire Department Dispatch Center, FCC. Our original plan was to have engine crews come in and do some sit-alongs and take a tour of the facility, but because of COVID and the outbreaks here, we've kind of canceled all the tours, so we're going to put this little PowerPoint together to hopefully take the place of the tours until we can get people back in the building. So FCC is a regional communications center in Ventura County. We obviously dispatch all the fire resources for Ventura County Fire, also Ventura City, Oxnard City, Fillmore, and Federal Fire Ventura, the CBC base in Point Mugu. We're also the sole dispatch center for the private ambulance companies in Ventura County, and we also dispatch for the Ventura County Air Unit. So in Ventura County, we have 8 primary safety answering points. So when callers call 911, the calls always go to law enforcement first. FCC is considered a secondary answering point. So when callers call 911, they're going to get either CHP, Ventura County Sheriff, Simi Valley PD, Ventura PD, Oxnard PD, Port Hueneme, Channel Islands, or Santa Paula PD prior to getting FCC. So what are some of the things that our 911 dispatchers do every day? So obviously we answer 911 on emergency lines. We're taking emergency calls all day long. We deal with local law enforcement. A lot of times they're the reporting party of many emergencies, and especially like traffic collisions, assaults, things like that. Sometimes they'll hold the call and they'll be talking to the RP, interrogating the RP, and we won't even get the 911 call. They'll just call us on the ring down line, what it's called, and they'll give us the information over the phone. We do all the administrative duties when engines go in and out of service, go on and off duty. Our dispatchers handle all that work as well, making sure that the CAD is updated. We give great customer service with everything that we do for our field responders and of course our emergency callers. We do some public information. We're a contract county for CAL FIRE, so we're responsible for state lands in Ventura County. We do all the ordering through IROC. We do a lot of, we deal with South Ops, Region 1, LA County Fire. We do a lot of coordination with them, especially during brush season. Obviously, we dispatch units. We got the closest resource concept. We have a slide later in the presentation that I can demonstrate that a little bit better. We organize strike teams through Region 1 and South Ops. We do all the overhead ordering. So when units and people are going out of county during fire season, we handle all that here. And we also do all the fire and ambulance status throughout the county. This slide here is just an example of some of the people that we deal with on a daily basis. Up the Rincon and into 25's area, we deal with Carpinteria Fire. They'll come down and help us out, run mutual aid, automatic aid with 25. On the east side, in 28's area, 43, 31, we'll run calls with LA County. Of course, we have the MTZ in 43's area where LA County, LA City, and Ventura County all border for brush fires there. And then, of course, at the north of our county, we have the U.S. Forest Service, the Los Padres Forest. So we deal with many, many agencies on a daily basis. These statistics are pretty old. They're from 2018. What I want to show you on this slide is what you all know in the field, but medical calls, they compose at least 75% of our daily call volume. Traffic collisions, you see there, 7%, and on down the line. Fires typically on an annual basis make up about 3% of our total calls. Last year, our call volume for 911s and our 7-digit emergency line, about 100,000 calls and nearly 57 admin calls. So we're right near about 100,000 calls per year dispatched. So public safety dispatcher, the training is pretty intense. We'll teach trainees everything they need to know. They don't need to know anything about the fire service. We'll teach them from the ground floor up. Classroom usually takes between 10 and 12 weeks. After that, they come to the floor and they'll spend anywhere from 16 to 20 weeks with a certified training officer on the floor. So they're plugged in with a trained certified dispatcher, and they walk them through everything, and they sit there and they are on the line with them, leading them through calls, are there alongside of them during radio traffic, working fires and things like that while they get their training. They get their emergency medical dispatch certification and emergency fire dispatch certification. They're trained in CPR. They go through rigorous benchmark testing at every stage of the process to make sure that they're keeping up with the information. There's a 1-year probation period. And believe it or not, it's 2 to 3 years before dispatchers start feeling comfortable at their job. There's a lot of information, and no situation is exactly like the other. So there's a lot of thinking outside the box here. Very, very difficult job. So here's the 4 positions. On a typical day at FCC, we have 2 emergency call takers, 1 backup dispatcher that handles all the administrative calls and calls from the ring down from the law enforcement agencies, Channel 1 that dispatches the call. They also handle all the fire status, ambulance status with all the ambulance move-ups. That's a 1-person job. And probably our most challenging position is command, just because of the sheer volume of channels that they have to monitor. Command 2, 5, and 8 are our bread and butter command channels, but we also have to monitor command 12, 14, 17, 18 up in Lockwood Valley, and we also have a SAT-RAD channel. Very challenging when units are trying to talk to us simultaneously on each channel. The relief position, they basically do break relief, so they kind of like work each position throughout the day so people can get breaks, and then we have 1 supervisor on duty. So FCC runs with 2 shifts. We've got a day shift that's 0700 to 1930, and a night shift that's 1900 to 0730. And there's a 30-minute shift trade at the beginning of those shifts before they hit the floor. Day shift runs with 7 dispatchers and 1 supervisor, and night shift currently has 5 dispatchers and 1 supervisor. Here's a picture of Brandon. He's doing Channel 1 dispatching and fire status. And here's a picture of Marnie. She's taking a 911 call here. On the screen on the left, you can see that's the emergency call taking screen where she's putting the address, phone number, and then in the right hand side there, kind of in the middle, she's doing EMD. That's where the ProQA script is there and all the scripted medical questions. So the very basic of call taking is obtaining an address so we know where to send units, getting a phone number in case the call is dropped or in case we need to call back to get additional information. And we also need to know what type of emergency that we're sending you to so we can send the right units. The incident moves into the queue. We dispatch all the calls hot, meaning we get an address and a basic overview of what's happening, and we dispatch the call. So that's why a lot of times your dispatch code to say a fall victim, and while you're doing your turnout time or while you're en route, you may get additional information and may be downgraded. That's because the call taker is going through EMD and getting additional information while you're responding. So a lot of teamwork goes on at FCC on a 911 call. Dispatcher is getting the address, phone number, verifying the city, picking a problem code to the best of what the caller is telling them. Once all that information is inputted, everyone in the room here at FCC can see that call. So the Channel 1 dispatcher will dispatch the call. The call taker will continue with emergency medical dispatch or emergency fire dispatch protocols, gather more information for the responders, and provide instructions to the caller if necessary. On medical calls, ambulances are being moved up. On fire calls, working fire calls, fire resources are being moved up as necessary. And as you all know, after the call is dispatched, you're assigned a command channel. So emergency medical dispatch, or EMD, is the program that we use to gather important scene and patient information. It gives us scripted pre-arrival emergency instructions that we can give, especially on choking, CPR, childbirth type calls. Everything's scripted for us, so we do it all the same way every single time. And we like to refer to ourselves as the first responders. So just like EMD, as of a couple years ago, we now have EFD, the emergency fire dispatch, And same premise, we gather information, we pick the best protocol based on what the caller is telling us, and we can provide scripted instructions while units are en route. So here's an example of the scripted questions that we have through the EMD, Emergency Medical Dispatch. And I'll play a fall victim 911 call that we had here recently. Fall victim, very common occurrence here. We take dozens of these calls every day. So here's the call.
Okay, and tell me exactly what happened.
Okay, we just heard a thump. My uncle, he's very sick. He has leukemia. We've been trying to get him to the doctor all morning. But anyways, he fell. So we heard a jump. He fell. He's laying kind of awkward. I don't know if I should move him. I think he's kind of laying on his arms. He's kind of on his side and almost his chest.
Okay, are you with him now?
Yeah, we're with him right now.
How old is he?
He's 75.
Okay, and is he awake?
Yeah, he's awake.
Is he breathing?
Hey, David, give me a breath. Are you breathing? Yeah, he's breathing.
Okay, and when did this happen?
It happened about 30 seconds ago, a minute ago.
Okay, all right. How far did he fall?
From the standing up to the ground.
Okay, and what caused his fall?
A weakness, just weakness. We think he walked to the bathroom.
Okay, is there any serious bleeding?
I can't, not that we see,
Okay. All right. Well, like I said, we've got help already started. Is he completely alert?
David? David? Can you hear me? No. No, you can't hear me? I'm right next to you, bud. What happened?
And what part of his body was injured?
I can't, I don't know if I don't want to move him. He's laying on his right arm, I think.
Yeah, no problem. We generally say during falls and in case of injuries not to move them unless it's absolutely necessary, okay? Is he still on the ground?
He's still on the ground, yeah. I'm not
all right.
Moved him. He's
okay, so,
right arm, so it's here.
All right, so like I said, we've got the paramedics on the way to help him. I want you to stay on the line. I'll tell you exactly what to do next. Now, if there is a defibrillator available, we ask that you send someone to get it now in case they need it later. But again, don't move him unless he's in danger. Okay, and we do ask that you don't splint any injuries that he may complain of. They'll take care of all that when they get there. And from now on, don't let him have anything to eat or drink since it could make him sick or cause further problems, okay?
Okay, absolutely.
All right. So I'll reiterate the don't move him unless it's absolutely necessary. We'll just try and have him be still as he waits for help to arrive, okay?
Okay, thank you. Very important. Can we take him to St. John's Regional because the doctors are waiting for him there?
Okay, that's something that they discuss with the ambulances, but being in Oxnard, that's generally the hospitals that they take people, depending on how busy it is for whatever reason, okay? So just continue to watch him closely. I am going to stay on the phone with you as long as I can, but if he becomes less awake and vomits, I want you to quickly turn him on the side. All right? Okay.
All right, and that's a typical fall victim call that we get. We do those dozens of times a day. All right, in this example, we'll play a 911 call for a vehicle fire that recently occurred.
I'm with the transfer for a vehicle fire in 3rd and D Street.
3rd and D, thank you.
Yeah,
hello, ma'am?
Yes, hello?
Hi, I understand you're at 3rd and D as in David, is that correct?
That's correct. Right across the street from the police station, there's a small parking lot. And it's a black Jaguar. The owner seems to be trying to throw out the flames with his little water bottles, but he can't.
Okay, and what's the phone number that you're calling from in case we get disconnected? And tell me exactly what happened.
You know what? I was just driving down the street, and I made a U-turn, and I seen the car's on fire. I mean, the engine's on fire. The owner's trying to throw dirt on it. He's had a couple water bottles on hand. But he can't get it out.
Are you at that location now?
I'm across the street. I'm literally parked in front of the police station.
Is the vehicle inside a building or structure?
No, it's in the parking lot. There's a small little parking lot right across the way from the police station.
Okay, and I know you said it was a black Jaguar, but what type of vehicle is on fire?
It's just like a 4-door sedan.
And is the fire threatening anything?
No, but there are vehicles around it,
Okay.
and there's a tree right in front of it as well.
Okay, is anyone trapped?
No. The car.
Okay.
The owner must have came to restart it or something because he's in another vehicle next to it as well.
And is anyone injured?
No.
Okay. Well, the fire department's being sent. Stay on the line. I'll tell you exactly what to do next. I don't want you to try to put the fire out. Do not try to get back in the vehicle to get personal items, and just move at least 100 feet away from the vehicle in the general area, okay? And then if it's
I told the gentleman to stay away, but he...
Okay.
Yeah, I told the gentleman to stay away, but he keeps running back towards the car.
All right, if it's safe to do so, just keep all bystanders away from the area. Meet the firefighters in a safe location. I'm going to let you go now. Help is on the way. If anything worsens in any way, call us back immediately for further instructions, okay?
No, I see the fire department.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
All right, bye-bye.
So here's an example of our closest resource concept. So Engine 53 recently was on their way back from ambulance follow-up at St. John's, Oxnard, and a medical call goes out at Saviors and Iris. Engine 53 just a couple blocks away from this call, so the computer picks them up as closest. Even though Engine 63, this is their first in district, and their ETA would have been very short ETA from quarters as well. Engine 53 is technically the closest, so the computer system automatically pulls them. Here's a picture of the MDC, which you all have in the rigs. Here at FCC, we don't pay too much attention to this because we have our CAD system that has the 4 screens, the 4 main computer screens. So we don't really use the MDC so much, but we know that all the information that we put in from our side ends up here. One of the common questions that we get here at FCC is, what does non-EMD mean? So on this call here, what it means is we probably got this call from Oxnard PD, 1244 Camelot Way. It goes out as an unknown medical problem. When it says non-EMD, that simply means that we had to force the call in without using the medical instructions. So usually when we get the call from a law enforcement agency, we don't use the medical instructions with law enforcement, so we override the system. So when you see non-EMD, it just means that we didn't go through the medical questions, probably because we got it from a law enforcement agency. So here's an example of the MDC with a fall victim, no code. As I mentioned earlier, this call probably went out as a fall victim code, and during the turnout time, the call taker gathered more information. And upon further entry into the EMD system, we determined this was a 14-year-old male conscious and breathing. That was a fall victim, and it turned out to be an alpha medical, which made it a fall no code. Here's Tablet Command. This is a new program that FCC and the field users are using. It's kind of taking the place of ECAD, but it lists all the calls, has a CAD queue here. It shows all the active calls, and when you click on those calls, you can actually see the notes. Really handy tool. One of the things that you can do to help us in the field is radio etiquette. Channel 1, the command channels, they are so busy, and oftentimes the dispatcher is listening to multiple channels at one time. So before giving your message over the radio, if you could try to raise us beforehand to make sure that we're listening to you and you have our full attention, that would be great, so that messages don't overlap. So this is why this is very, very important. So on channel 1 is not a repeated channel. So for example, an Oxnard engine trying to race this on channel 1 with priority traffic, if they just start talking without us clearing the channel, there's a good chance that the units in the East County, Simi Valley, Thousand Oaks, for example, will not hear that traffic. Same thing with on-scene reports. It's very important to get our attention before giving on-scene reports. We could be talking to other units on different channels as well. And just be aware that just because you're on one command channel that's clear, that doesn't mean that there can't be working incidents on another channel and other things going on around the county. So we really ask for your help in that. We'd be really, really appreciate it. So a very simple example would be the engine company raising Ventura. Ventura, engine 64 with priority traffic. Engine 64, go ahead with your priority traffic. That way, that helps us so much because it clears the channel, you have our full attention, and nothing's going to get missed. So this was a quick 30,000 foot overview of FCC. Very, very brief and basic overview. I hope it helped a little bit. We always have questions. You have questions. Again, my name is Mark Sackenruder. Here's all my contact information. Feel free to send me an email, shoot me a text. I love hearing from you guys. Anything that we can do to help you, you're our end customer as well. So anything that we can do to improve the communication and work better together, please reach out. And I hope you enjoyed the presentation. Thanks for your time.